Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. This is episode 177 and the last Tech It Out of 2020. What a year, huh? Sheesh. Well, I trust that you're happy and healthy and that your loved ones are as well. And I hope you had a magical Christmas last week and a happy Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, which starts this weekend. All the best to you all. And thank you for your support all year round on Tech It Out. You know, this show has grown spectacularly between July of 2017, when we started, until today, 2.5 years later. So thank you again. Plus, the podcast is growing very well, too. And thank you to Radio America. Thank you to my sponsors like Asus. I could not have done the show without you. And speaking of the podcast, please feel free to subscribe and tell a friend or colleague about it, a family member. The Tech It Out podcast is available on your favorite podcast platform. Just do a search for Tech It Out and maybe my name, Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. And be sure to leave a review or star rating. That goes a long way. Thank you. All right, we have a great episode planned for you this hour. We're going to learn about smart lighting in a moment with GE. There's a new interactive reality TV show called Rival Peak that just debuted on Facebook. We'll learn about that this hour. A new arcade cabinet for the home is now shipping called iiRcade. We'll learn what makes that system unique. And Sony will stop by to talk about its latest camera designed for content creators like YouTubers. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by Asus, which I'll tell you more about shortly, but let's officially start the show with our first interview. One of the biggest growth areas in the world of tech is in the smart home space, from video doorbells and Wi-Fi thermostats to water sensors and smart lighting. And so we're now going to shine a light on what GE, General Electric, is up to in the smart lighting space, as we're joined by Paul Williams. He's the General Manager of Product Management and Growth for GE Lighting. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thanks, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
And happy holidays to you.
And to you as well.
Now, before we talk about the C by GE portfolio, that's what this family of products is called, the letter C by GE. Tell us a bit about GE. The company is, if I'm not mistaken, over 125 years old, right?
That is correct. Yeah, GE Lighting has been around for almost 130 years.
Wow.
And in that time, we have really pioneered light and light in homes. In fact, a lot of what people know as the common light bulb has a lot of genesis from what we started in the early days.
Amazing. And I know over the years, things became more energy efficient, going from incandescent and fluorescent to LED, which sip rather than gulp electricity, not to mention millions of colors and smart control and automation. And that leads us nicely into GE's new line of smart lighting products. Again, collectively, they're called C by GE. Tell us about this new family.
Yeah, you bet. So we're taking that nearly 130 years of lighting expertise, and we've moved that into smart and connected smart home. And C by GE, the C stands for connected, really is our connected strategy. And what we're building is not just an individual lighting solution, but it's really an ecosystem of products that we're building. And it's starting with lighting because that's our DNA. That's what we know after nearly that 130 years. We've mentioned a couple of times. And we're bringing that into consumers' homes. And where we're at in the progress of the smart home is we're exiting kind of what I would consider the early adopter phase. The folks that are, not adverse to technology, they're willing to get their feet wet and their hands dirty a little bit. And it can be challenging. You're going to have many apps to do this, get your smart home to work. It might be a little harder and difficult to get going, but once you get it, it's like awesome. And we're just exiting that phase. And that's really where IoT has started and was in this early adopter phase. And we're now just starting to get into mass market. And what we're really keying our C by GE product line in is this mass market, is this next level, this next market of folks that are going to be entering this that don't have the patience or the desire to spend time trying to figure out how to make something work. It just needs to get working real quickly. I need to get pretty instant gratification from knowing that it's working and get my user cases really developed and shown to me very early on. It needs to be simple, and that's what we've really developed here with our C by G product line.
All right, got it. So I was going to ask you what separates the C by GE smart lights from the others in this space. I would say, like Philips Hue, which I believe is now owned by Signify. They're one of the bigger folks in this that plays in this space. I wanted to know what would separate C by GE. So it's the user experience. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd say user experience is one of those, but I think there's other things that we've done as well. So in addition to just smart light bulbs, our C by G product family also includes smart light switches. And so it's very often if you go into a normal home in North America, you walk into that home, and there are various needs. If we were going to say, I want to make this a smart home and I want to have smart lighting throughout the home, light bulbs are going to be a great solution for some areas of the home, especially in lamps and in downlights. But there are areas of the home where a switch is the better solution, where I might have 8 or 10 switch lights that are cans that are running off of a single switch. I could replace all 8 of those. It gets pretty expensive to think about that. And then I'm individually controlling 8 lights. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Or I can just replace the light switch. And that light switch is now a smart light or a smart light switch. And now I can control that whole bank of lights or that whole circuit of lights with one switch. And so we've got this new, this ability to have this combination of both switches and bulbs that can be used in combination with each other to make sure that smart home really has a full lighting control system.
And speaking of the bulbs, does your portfolio have all the sort of basics like both white and color, the A19 regular light bulbs? Do you guys do pot lights, chandelier lights, indoor and outdoor, and so on?
So right now, as we're developing the product line out, we've got your A19, which is that classic light bulb shape that you would think of. We have that available in several different varieties. We have a soft white, which is your normal kind of soft glow, yellowish glow white. We have a tunable white, which allows us to go from 2,000 Kelvin to 7,000 Kelvin. That's not going to mean a lot to a lot of people, but it can go to ultra bright to really soft white. So it gets warm light all the way to really bright light, have a little more blue that's introduced across that. And then we have full color, 16 plus million color light bulbs available in that A19. We also then have a BR30, and then we have light strips that are available, with especially popular. You're finding those a lot behind televisions now. People are backlighting their televisions. And then as we get into this next year, you'll see that we'll have some outdoor stuff that's coming. I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis and pre-announce anything that's not announced yet, but wouldn't be as a big surprise that we'd have some things that are going outdoors. And then we're continuing to add on to the product line, and we'll continue to do so.
We're chatting with Paul Williams, General Manager of Product Management and Growth for GE Lighting. We're learning about the C by GE portfolio. The C stands for connected. This is a new family of smart lighting and smart switches for consumers. Do your smart lights require a bridge or a hub like some other smart lights do that plug it to your modem or your router?
We don't actually. I would say we started out that way, and we've had the product line around for a little over 3 years. We started out with the need of a hub. As we enter this mass market, the hub is something that is undesirable. And so our new product line which is out now and which is available is our Direct Connect products. And those Direct Connect products do not require a hub or a bridge device. They can communicate directly to the Wi-Fi system in the home, which then can communicate to the cloud and allow us to have intercommunication to control it through our app remotely, from anywhere in the world that you have connection, or anywhere inside the home with using our app, or through voice assistants as well, being able to use those virtual assistants to control your home with voice.
Boy, you're really anticipating my next questions here. I was going to wrap up by asking you about the app and about voice control through smart speakers, be it Alexa, Google, or Siri. Do you support all the big smart speakers for those who don't want to open up an app? They'd rather just speak out loud to control their lights?
Yeah, so right now we support Amazon Alexa and also Google Assistant as we're working through some of the implementations for Siri and HomeKit. But today, right out of the box,
Sure.
We support Alexa and Google Assistant. And voice is an excellent
that's pretty
way
standard, I think.
It is very standard. Voice is an excellent way to interact with lighting. Lighting is really a good key for voice control.
So part of the story is control, and the other part of the story is automation. Can you set your C by GE smart lights to come on and off at certain times of the day so you can automate it or put it on a timer?
You bet. You can create all kinds of custom scheduling to do whatever you'd like to have them come on in a certain color during certain parts of the day, which has been really interesting during this COVID experience as a room and people are in place in their home. That one room that may have been just used for eating or for entertaining is now being used as an education space and as my workspace. And so changing that light on the type of light that's being shown in that space can do a lot for keeping you alert.
So finally, where can we learn more about the C by GE portfolio?
You bet. The easiest place is just to go to cbyge.com.
Okay, so just the letter C, BYGE.com. Paul Williams has been our guest. Thank you so much for your time, Paul. Happy holidays once again, and I'm excited to see where this goes into 2021. All the best.
Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate it. Happy holidays, everyone.
When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to learn about the world's first interactive reality show on Facebook called Rival Peak. But first, this program, Tech It Out, is powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including its line of award-winning laptops. Check it all out at asus.com/US/radio. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone, to Tech It Out. A new kind of interactive entertainment experience called Rival Peak has just debuted on Facebook Watch. What is Rival Peak, you ask? What's Facebook Watch? Is this a game or a reality TV show? Well, for answers on all of this, we're joined by Jacob Navoke. He is the CEO at a company called GenVid. Welcome to the show, Jacob.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
All right, so we have a lot to unpack here, Jacob. So let's dive right in. What is Rival Peak? Billed as the first interactive reality TV show. What does that mean exactly? And give us a peek into Rival Peak.
Thank you. So what we're doing with Rival Peak is something unique in the history of media. There are these characters. They are all AI, and they have their own agendas and storylines, needs and goals. And they're going to be streaming 24/7 from within a game instance. But you don't control them. You are not the player of these characters. These characters have their own agency, just like people on a TV show. However, they will be responding to what the community wants. So every few minutes, they'll stop and say, hey, what should I do next? They will ask you to help them to work on a project. They will have things that they're pointing out, and you'll be able to check it out while watching. So they may spot a rock with mysterious carvings and say, hey, I've noticed this. What do you think this is? Can you help me solve the puzzle? And so what we're trying to do is blend together elements of traditional narrative with very rich interactivity that looks like a living cartoon. And moreover, every week, just like a traditional reality show, these characters are trying to survive elimination. So one of them will be cut from the show, and the one that's cut from the show is the one with the lowest score. How do you increase your score? You get the community to help you with the projects, with the goals, and with everything else. And so the AI are actually trying to convince you to watch them, to assist, to engage.
Okay. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. So it's not video like a reality show with actors. This is, you said cartoon-like. And because this is radio, I want to just explain that.
Sure.
But when the AI or the artificial intelligence is going about its business and we interact with it, are other viewers also interacting with that same AI character? Or is it a custom experience, like one-to-one?
We're all interacting with it together. Think of it like if you've ever heard of Twitch Plays Pokemon, where 1 million people plays Pokemon together. Mm-hmm. Similar to that, the AI right now in their first season are set in an undisclosed location of the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Kind of looks a little bit Twin Peakish. They have appeared on this reality show, and they're trying to get their bearings. And over the course of the 12 weeks that it's going to air, the area is going to transform. In fact, the third day of the show, they'll get access to a new part. And by the end of the first week, they'll have access to many more different areas that they didn't have access to prior. And so the look and feel of where they are and what's happening is going to change drastically from week to week.
All right. So we're not the character like a traditional video game where we get to choose the action, such as turning left at some point or turning right or interacting with such and such character. But you do get involved in some of the puzzle solving?
Correct. Yes. See,
okay.
The AI need help. They need assistance. They need to survive this. And so in a traditional game, the characters are waiting for you. You're kind of starting the game, and when you begin, their story begins for you.
Right. Here,
the story is unfolding in real time. Whether you are playing or not, these characters exist. And we think of it similar to the 24/7 live streams of something like Big Brother, right? There are people out there, they're doing their own thing. And if you feel like watching, you can be a voyeur. But in the case of Rival Peak, you're going to tell them what to do.
We're chatting with Jacob Navok. He is the CEO of GenVid. They're the company behind Rival Peak. This is an interactive entertainment experience that just debuted on Facebook Watch. What is Facebook Watch?
Facebook Watch is Facebook's platform for live streaming, for gaming, and for original content. In fact, the project that we work on with Facebook is not just Rival Peak, but also its sister show, Rival Speak, which is going to be airing every Wednesday on Facebook Watch.
All right. So Rival Speak is a weekly wrap-up show based on the Rival Peak experience. I'm not going to call it a game, but this interactive reality TV show / game experience. And it's hosted by none other than Will Wheaton. I mean, we're talking the actor from like Star Trek and many other films.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, awesome. And what do we need to get going with Rival Peak? Do we go to Facebook? And how much does it cost?
It is completely free, and you just have to go with your desktop or with your phone. We support Android to facebook.com/rivalpeak, and it begins.
If it's free, how do you make money by creating this and sustaining it?
Facebook is an advertising-based platform. So what I imagine is there are going to be ads during the Rival Speak show. The live streams are completely ad-free.
Mm-hmm. And just to circle back on something you mentioned, so it works with Android devices like a Samsung or a Google Pixel phone, but not iPhone yet.
Not iPhone yet, though we are hopeful that over the course of the season we'll be able to support it.
Okay, but Windows and Mac and Chromebooks, anything with a desktop browser to access Facebook, does it have to be a specific browser?
We officially support Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, but Edge is also working just fine. Okay. We haven't tested the others, but to be honest, it's just a standard live stream with HTML5 elements over it. Mm-hmm. And so we did a QA test recently, 500 people worldwide. We had people from Portugal to Palestine playing in full 1080p with no issues.
All right, facebook.com/rivalpeak to learn more. Jacob, thanks so much for your time. It sounds very intriguing, not going to lie, and I'm excited to give it a shot. Thank you again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out when we learn about the iiRcade cabinet for the home, now shipping. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. As you head into 2021, maybe one of your New Year's resolutions is to spend less, especially with what's going on in the world. And to help you do that, Slickdeals.net is a great website. It's the largest social platform for shopping. It houses millions of deal hunters who share the best deals out there for both offline and online shopping, so retail as well as online marketplaces. Check out slickdeals.net/radio to install the free browser extension as well, just to save more money. Again, that's slickdeals.net/radio. Retro, as you know, is super hot right now, especially when it comes to video games. Those who grew up with games in the 80s and the 90s, like yours truly, are craving some of the familiar franchises and sometimes with simpler controls than what's available today, and also sharing those memories with their kids. If you've ever dreamt of putting an arcade cabinet in your home, we're now going to learn about iiRcade with its founder, CEO, and president, Zhang Xin. Welcome to the show, Zhang.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Okay, great. So why don't we jump right in? At a high level, what is the iiRcade cabinet all about? And for our listeners, iiRcade is spelled I-Arcade.
Thank you. So ever since I was young, I've been dreaming about having a complete renovated arcade experience because I'm a huge gamer. iiRcade is supposed to deliver the innovations and next generation arcade experiences, basically. So first thing is that on iiRcade, you can have one device where you can download many new games instead of needing to buy a cabinet every time you want to buy a new game. And then also it delivers a completely different experience with premium experiences, utilizing 19 inches of like HD display, 100 watts of very powerful audio that delivers games in a completely different kind of experiences, right? Also, the system also plays your favorite retro arcade games as well as modern games that you have never experienced in an arcade experience before. And this is supposed to deliver the quote-unquote next generation arcade experience that fits in your home, basically.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you about some of those more modern games in a moment. I know I set up our interview as a retro kind of product that is really popular, but we're going to hear about some of the more modern games in a moment. To clarify, it is a full-size cabinet like what you would see in an arcade?
Sure. Yes, it is going to be a full configuration, full standard configuration, or you can also divide it into a bar top, so that it can accommodate where you live, right? Also, depending on the cabinet, from a size perspective, it can be bigger or smaller. We've actually compared against 150 different cabinets to come up with our size. So it is designed to fit in your home, wherever you live.
Okay. So it is a full-size cabinet, like a coin-operated arcade cabinet. And on the website, it says it's a convertible cabinet. So that means that you can take off the top on it and put it on, say, a bar, as you were saying, or on a table. That's right?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And what kind of controllers or joysticks are built in?
We have the two-player joysticks, just like how you see in the arcades. Our device is optimized for either one or two-player gaming, or one-player gaming that uses both controllers. From control perspective, we do have premium controllers on our original version. Also, we have Sanwa joysticks, which is a premium joystick that's built into our special versions like Dragon Slayer cabinet and Black Edition cabinet. We also have other control buttons where you can control your volume, you can pause a game, you can sleep, put the device to sleep, power, menu, coin, etc.
Okay. What about those games that may require a trackball instead of joysticks or a knob, like a dial? Are you not able to play those kinds of games?
So initially, we were focusing on the best experience of the joystick games. Mm-hmm. And then the trackballs and other type of controllers we'll definitely be looking into for the future, near future.
Okay, great. And you were making the distinction between different kinds of cabinets. So do you sell more than one iiRcade cabinet? You mentioned Dragon Slayer, which I'm super excited to play on iiRcade. Yeah, I grew up playing that game for sure, that Laserdisc game. So there are different cabinet types you can get, or is it just one?
Sure. So we have the original design that has the original configuration. And we also have, like you said, Dragon Slayer cabinet that looks amazing and also has premium joysticks and upgraded memories and things like that too. We also have another version called Black Edition where you can customize your graphics by working with third party to make it your own.
Oh, so you can change up the artwork along the sides and the top and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Great. Speaking of Dragon Slayer, can you confirm how many licensed games are preloaded in iiRcade and how you add more?
Absolutely. So we have 11 games preloaded. That includes Dragon Slayer, Double Dragon, Beach Buggy Racing, which is like modern version of like Mario Kart and things. We also have online games such as Bomb Squad, that's online multiplayer game, and then of course other arcade games as well. Preloaded total in 11, and then you can get more games from our iiRcade online store, which we currently have over 200 games officially licensed in both retro arcade game as well as modern games, and it's continuously growing. So you'll always find new games.
We're chatting with Jung Shin. He is the founder, CEO, and president of iiRcade. This is a new cabinet that is available for pre-order. We'll get to all that in a moment. So it's a stand-up arcade cabinet for your home that can convert also into a tabletop unit if you like. And it supports several both retro games, ones that you may recall, like Dragon Slayer, as well as new games too. So there's 11 preloaded games, but you can download more from the iiRcade store. And do you have like a a wide variety, or is it just a couple to start and you're looking to grow it?
So we currently have over 200 games officially licensed, and it's continuously growing. That consists of a lot of varieties in different genres, as well as modern games and your favorite retro arcade games as well.
And then finally, Jung, how much does the iiRcade cabinet cost? And I understand it is a pre-order, but they're shipping within a month or so, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Original design, you can purchase the bar top and the stand separately. The bar top will cost $599 and the stand will cost $149. The special editions will be sold in the full configuration and they cost $799.
And they're the full-size arcade cabinets?
Yes, that contains both bar top and the stand.
Okay. And to clarify, the same games are available in both? Like the Black Edition can also, play Dragon Slayer, just like the standard edition, all that?
Absolutely. The preloaded games will be all same. You can purchase the same games. The special edition contains the upgraded joystick and upgraded memory, and that's the price difference.
All right, John, this sounds great. So iiRcade is the name of the cabinet. What's the best website to learn more?
Thank you. Our website is iircade.com, iircade.com. And we also have a very active Facebook page at facebook.com/iircade. And also demo videos at youtube.com/iircade.
Okay. Again, it's iircade.com for the website. We've been chatting with Jong Shin. He's the founder, CEO, and president. And I hope it does well for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was very exciting. Thank you so much.
You're listening to Tech It Out, powered by ASUS, for those in search of incredible. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. It's been 10 years since the first time I interviewed my next guest on another radio show that I've been hosting since the year 2000. And since then, I've always enjoyed running into him at Sony events, at the Consumer Electronics Show, even in a restaurant here and there. Thrilled to have back onto the show, Karl Warminiak. He's the National Training Manager for Sony, this time to talk with us about an impressive new camera called the ZV-1. Hi, Karl. How are you?
Really well. Glad to be back, Mark.
It's been a while. As I mentioned, it's been 10 years. First time I had you on the show was back in 2010. And of course, several times since then. So before we talk about the ZV-1, tell us at a high level about Sony's heritage in the imaging space.
So when it comes to Sony as a brand, when it comes to digital imaging, a lot of people don't realize that Sony's really bread and butter in the camera industry is around our sensor technology. Not only the fact that we make tremendous sensors, obviously, for all of our cameras, but a lot of the cell phones that we use, the phone that's in your pocket most likely has a Sony sensor. We do a lot of things in the automotive space. So a lot of the camera systems that are used in vehicles today use Sony sensors. And obviously our professional heritage that when we were able to go to sporting events, if you look around those stadiums, you would see that they all use Sony cameras. And obviously our movie heritage from the movie studio side of things, again, using Sony's cameras and sensors there. So we are very innovative in this space, not just in the consumer electronics part of the industry, but also in the cell phone industry and obviously in the professional side of the industry. So we definitely know how to make a phenomenal sensor to be able to capture great color and capture great experiences. And the ZV-1 really falls into a unique kind of space, leveraging that sensor technology we have.
Okay, awesome. So that's a great segue to zoom in on the ZV-1. What kind of camera is it exactly? I know there's different categories.
This is really the content creator's ultimate camera. It is a phenomenal camera for photography, but is a very video-centric camera for people that are looking to be able to capture video and maybe don't have the budget to go all out with that full mirrorless DSLR type camera. And so definitely the ZV-1 now falls into a very unique space because of the fact of our professional heritage and our industry-leading sensor technology. And it solves a lot of pain points, I think, that a lot of video shooters and vloggers have trying to use compact cameras. And I think this is where this camera really shines above. And in that price point, there's nothing else like it.
Okay, so it's not a compact system camera or otherwise known as a mirrorless camera, which is kind of like an SLR, a single lens reflex camera, but there's no mirror inside. It's usually a smaller device. So this is not, you wouldn't consider this one of those kinds of cameras?
No, there is no detachable lens on here.
Okay.
You are going to get a nice wide angle with a good variable zoom. It's a again, the sensor is going to allow us to be able to use this in low light, fast action, and everything in between. So it's a perfect hybrid as a good camera for taking stills. But when you get into the video side of things, that's where the camera really starts to shine.
All right. Thanks for the clarification. So with that in mind, what are some of its key features? You already sort of hinted at a couple of them, but why don't you walk us through what the ZV-1 is all about?
So when you think about a lot of those selfie shooters out there where they have the camera pointing at themselves, and this camera, first off, has a flip out screen. So if you are going to be doing any vlogging or selfies, you'll be able to flip the screen out and see yourself. But here's where the magic starts to come in. So things like the facial recognition and the real-time eye autofocus. So what our camera can do is it will lock in on your eye, and as you're moving, it will continue to track your eye to make sure that your head and your face and your eyes are in complete focus. But that's critical also for making sure that skin tones are going to be natural. And it helps you be able to create a really great defocused background, which in the photography world they call bokeh, right? And you get that really nice defocused background, and you're focused in on your face all the time. So that is one critical piece. I talked about how it makes sure that your skin tone is going to be natural and clean, but also the stabilization that's built in. So if you are going to be moving and holding the camera at an arm's length in your hand, the stabilization is optical, so meaning that it moves with you, and it helps make sure you have a good stable image, not just for photos, but for video. And another big pain point that we solve with this camera is around outside use, where you're running into wind. We actually include a wind scarf that sits on the top of the microphone that'll help eliminate any of that wind noise that might show up in videos when you're playing it back. And then there's another really cool feature that I want to talk about specifically, product showcase. But those are probably the four key ones that really stick out as being an ultimate kind of video vlogger type camera.
All right, we'll get to that in a moment then, Carl. But in terms of speeds and feeds, can this camera do 4K? Can it do 8K? How many frames per second? Even though this show doesn't try to delve too much into the specs, I'm sure some of our listeners who are intrigued would like to know some of those features.
So the key things from a spec perspective, you're looking at a 20 plus megapixel sensor. So for stills, it's going to be phenomenal to be able to do large prints, be able to manipulate after in post, so you can go and crop without any issues whatsoever. 4K, so you're definitely going to be able to get some beautiful 4K imagery out of this. And if you are going to be using it as that budding YouTube star, you'll be able to post all of your videos up in beautiful 4K. And it uses Sony's AVC HD codec, which is very memory friendly, but also holds and maintains the quality of the image for video as well. So it is a full-fledged performer when it comes to stills, and also the video capabilities as well.
All right. We'll continue chatting with Carl Warminiak from Sony after this short break. On a related note, when you're capturing all those photos and video footage, you need to back up your important information. At the risk of sounding preachy, don't forget to invest in an inexpensive external SSD or solid state drive or HDD, a hard disk drive. I use SanDisk and Western Digital products exclusively to back up my important files just in case. And you can leverage the cloud as well if you have access to cloud services like OneDrive and Google Drive and so on. But definitely consider an external offline solution from Western Digital or SanDisk. We'll be right back. Stay with us for more Tech It Out.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We're chatting with Carl Warminiak. He's the National Training Manager for Sony. Now, Carl, you were talking about the windsock included to cover over the microphone of the camera, but I'm assuming this camera can also support an external microphone. Is that right? And if so, is it a wired mic or can it also do a Bluetooth mic?
So this is definitely a very versatile option when it comes to audio, because I think that's something that a lot of vloggers out there are looking to try to get premium audio without maybe having to go with a significant expense on top of that. So the windsock definitely is going to help make sure you get great audio with the built-in mic, but absolutely we do have a mic jack, and there is a shoe on the top that's going to allow you to be able to interface in a external mic. So Sony will have a few dedicated mics, but it'll also work with third-party external microphones as well. So as important as you want for in terms of your audio performance, we will have you covered with either the built-in mic with the windsock or an external microphone fully capable on the camera as well.
Okay, fair enough. Now, compared to some of Sony's other cameras, usually they fall under the Alpha line for some of your premium devices. Would you say that the ZV-1 is geared more towards content creators like YouTubers and Instagrammers and so on?
Absolutely. This is definitely that content creator's camera, but you don't have to be someone who's going to be going on YouTube. If you're looking at trying to be able to capture just better video of your family, if you are going to get to go on a trip sometime soon, you want a compact camera that can do great video. The feature sets that I've talked about not just help the vloggers, but it's also going to help just to get better everyday video as well. So this is a great camera for families, people that want to travel, not just for that content creator itself.
Okay, fair enough. And speaking of shooting better video, it's no secret, Carl, that smartphones today, including those from Sony, are catching up to dedicated cameras in the photography department. What would you say to someone who questions why buy a standalone camera today?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's something that we get all the time. And you're right, like the cell phones are just getting significantly better year in and year out. I think where the ZV-1 is going to really stand above is the fact that some of these key features, especially for video, you can never get on a cell phone. And first thing you got to understand with a cell phone is that, yes, the cameras are getting better, but the sensor size is very small. To give you an idea in perspective, the sensor that's inside the ZV-1 is anywhere from 5 to 10 times larger than what you're going to find in a traditional cell phone. And that is critical to make sure that you can bring in better light. That's going to help make sure your camera can focus quicker. And these are the things that help this camera stand out when it comes to video, is that you're not going to have things like shaky images, skin tones will be more accurate. You're not going to be running into challenges of focus tracking where the camera doesn't know to focus either on your face or what's behind you or in the foreground. The ZV-1 has these unique features that are going to allow you to be able to hold on to the critical things that are focused. So either you or maybe the product that you're showcasing, because we have a cool feature called Product Showcase. So this is a perfect example if you're doing a makeup video and you want to be able to show off a makeup brush. Normally, if you stick that in front of the camera doesn't know if it needs to focus on you or the product. We have a dedicated feature on the ZV-1 that is Product Showcase. It will lock focus on that product. You move it away, it'll quickly grab focus back onto your face. These are things that cell phones just cannot do. And this is why this is that great camera for those content creators.
Before we wrap up, Carl, this camera does have Wi-Fi though, right? So if you used your phone as a hotspot, for example, you're out and about, you're able to upload that video to the internet from the camera directly via a connection to a wireless network, right?
100%. So this is something I think that's critical today too for content creators. And, that's why cell phones are so unique, because it's instantaneous. Well, you're not going to have to go through a very difficult process to get your photos and videos off this camera onto your phone. Using Sony's Imaging Edge mobile app that's available for Android and iOS devices, you'll be able to share your photos and videos instantly with your YouTube followers, your Instagram followers, TikTok, you name it, with seamlessly a touch of a button. And, one other cool thing to be able to mention is, obviously in the times that we're in, this camera can also be hooked up to your computer to use as a webcam. This is a new firmware update that we've made available with this camera and several other Sony cameras that allows you to be able to set this up as your full-time webcam at home, and it does a tremendous job, much better than any computer's built-in camera and microphone.
Yeah, no doubt. Could you also do live streaming with this?
Absolutely. Okay. So really, you once you have it hooked up, you can use it as a live stream camera, webcam for Zoom and Teams calls, you name it.
Okay. And then finally, Carl, how much does the camera cost and where can we learn more about it?
We're looking at $699 US, Sony.com to learn more.
All right, Carl. Always great to chat with you. I see on your Skype photo you're looking through the lens of a camera, so I know you're the right guy to talk to. This is like your profile pic, so obviously you're passionate about photography, which I knew ahead of time as well. Always good to catch up, Carl. Be well. Thanks again.
Same to you. Thank you again, Mark.
Well, that wraps up this show and this year for Tech It Out. Thank you once again for all your support. I'm wishing you a happy and healthy week ahead, and I look forward to catching up with you in 2021. Here's to a better year, huh? All right, all the best. Take care. Ciao.